All right, so good news. I got my oil analysis results back, and there's nothing concerning whatsoever. So I can read the report here. It says the flag data does not indicate an immediate need for maintenance action. Continue to observe the trend and monitor equipment and fluid conditions. Flag data may be wear-in or contamination from overhauled or new unit. Potassium in the engines may be from protective coatings, from bearings or heads, and or solder flux from oil cooler. Suspect most of the copper may be coming from the lubricant cooler and or EGR cooler as applicable. Copper is at a minor level. Aluminum is at a minor level. Excuse me. Aluminum sources in the engines include pistons, block and components, intake manifold head, bearing caps, thrust bearings, main rod bearings, overlay or backing, aluminum silica or contamination from grease. Boron is slightly low for this lubricant, which is the AMSOIL Signature Series Max Duty 5W40. Boron levels may naturally decline with use, so this is not cause for concern, and the oil is suitable for continued use. Observe trends in the future. So I tested this oil at the 20% oil life remaining on the oil minder on the truck there, and I had 278 hours on it, and the kilometers was 15,732, or just under 10,000 miles. 16,000 kilometers is 10,000 miles. Total mileage on the truck is 42,653 kilometers at the time of doing this sample. Now, what else does it say here? So I'm not sure if you can see. I put a screen, like an image of the sample report back. It says, so fuel dilution is less than 2%. Soot right now is at 0.4%. Water is less than 0.1%. The viscosity is 13.1, which is pretty good. It doesn't say what the acid number, so the total base number is 2.88, so that's good. So there's still adequate base neutralizers in the oil to, I guess that's what it's called, base neutralizers, but enough to neutralize combustion acids. This is a pretty high TBN oil. I'm not sure where it starts off at. It's probably close to 12. I could look up the specs. So that tells me that the oil is probably good, at least, another 40% more. Oxidization is at 16 on this, and then nitration is at 11. I'm not, super up on all that stuff. I'm basically just looking for, any flagged results in terms of wear metals or contaminants or fuel dilution and whatnot. So yeah, so far so good. This is positive. I'm pleased. I was a little nervous. The next sample I'll do will be once the oil minder hits 5%. I did one on my 2019 F450 when the oil minder was at 4%, and the results were the same. The oil came back perfectly serviceable and safe for continued use. I, of course, changed it out at that. I never pushed it any longer. But yeah, so all in all, great news. And yeah, we'll see. I might in the future push it a little bit longer and see what it's like if I stretch this out to say, let the oil minder go down to 5% and reset it, and then test it at 80%, let's say, so like 120% of what the computer says. I am running like their AMSOIL filter as well, so it should be perfectly adequate to run that much longer and then sample it. Of course, with this kind of stuff, you wanna test it and then go off of data. You don't want to just run the truck. Oh, you got full synthetic and synthetic filter, and you figure you're safe to run it for 3 times the manufacturer's drain interval. You're not. You should only do that with proper sampling and lab results to back it up, because you can have an engine that's got bad injectors and you run into fuel dilution, and your oil's no good. It's not even made its standard drain interval in terms of mileage or hours. So I had that happen with my other truck. I was starting to see 5.3, 5.4% fuel dilution. And, that's pretty common in some of the earlier generation trucks with DPF and stuff, like the Fords and Dodges and GMs. But the Fords, especially like 2010 to 2011, or no, 2008 to 2010. So the 6.4s, they were notorious for fuel dilution. So like my 6-liter, yeah, they're not known for fuel dilution at all. So I had an injector that was kind of leaking down a bit. So I've got a new samples on that as well, since I've changed the injectors on it. And it'll be interesting to see, it should come back with like no fuel dilution. But yeah, it's really, an invaluable tool to be able to send in a used oil sample and kind of get a, like a spot check on the health of your engine. It's kind of like doing a blood test on, a person to see what their overall, blood panel looks like. It gives you, insight to your motor that you just wouldn't have otherwise. So, and also, like if you're trying to maximize your drain intervals on your oils, right? Like, based on those lab results, how far you can push that oil change interval out to, right? I mean, these computers are not, they're not sampling the oil in real time. They're telling you how much oil life you have left based on an algorithm, right? So it's, measuring and monitoring your throttle position, engine load, fuel usage, because they do meter how much fuel the engine's going through, and then factor it on that, right? So I'm surprised that there's as much oil life left over at the mileage that you're getting before the oil minder tells you to change your oil, right? So that, I don't know what it's like with a regular oil though. Like, these trucks, as long as you're running the current API rated oil, like you can run a dyno oil. I'm not sure at that point, how those oils would stand up. I'm running, top tier oil for, in all my stuff. So that may be different. You may test these oils out at like 5% oil life remaining with like a standard, run of the mill dyno oil, and find that the additive packages that are in the oil have depleted to the point that it's just not serviceable anymore. So yeah, I don't plan on ever running like non-synthetic oil in this truck. I run it and everything, so I won't ever be able to test it and confirm. But there is a difference even within AMSOIL's oil lineup in terms of what vehicle likes what oil. The 6-liters, for example, they shear 40 weight oil down. They don't tolerate it very well. It's not that they don't tolerate it. It's not as robust in terms of longevity in the engine for runtime, because the injectors just shear the oil down. So they actually do better with like a 30 weight oil. Same thing with Land Cruiser diesel I had. I can't remember which oil I had in it. I think it was the 1030, heavy duty 1030 I ran in it. And it didn't test as well as the 1540 heavy duty marine oil. And same runtime, but that engine just seemed to like that, 1540 oil better, even though those engines are actually spec'd, for a 1030 oil. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like, if you have any interest in automotive stuff, this is something I think, anybody that's got expensive equipment like that, it's worth, its weight in gold to do, right? Gives you a baseline to go off of as well. So you're not just, blindly changing your oil, more often than you need to, and you're not worried about running it out too long as well. So anyways, that's great news. Yeah. And like I always say, if you like my videos, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and I look forward to reading and engaging with you guys in the comment section. Thanks for watching.